Have you seen Bitcoin's price recently? Every time I check, it seems like we're climbing another 1 to 2K. Suddenly, there's a lot more positive talk coming out of Washington. Regulatory clarity, institutions becoming comfortable. And with all this happening at the same time, it makes me wonder, was this planned? And if so, where could it lead? Stay with me here for a second. Is President Trump laying the groundwork for Bitcoin to operate as a national currency, while the Federal Reserve quietly loses its relevance? I'm Oceans, this is Beyond Bitcoin. Let's go. As I said in the intro, have you seen Bitcoin's price recently? Every time I check, it seems like we're going up. Well, it's not much of a surprise, as earlier this week I made a video about all the bullish news coming out of Bitcoin recently. And while researching, something hit me. Trump is clearly paving the way for Bitcoin, but to what extent? Man, there's so much to get into, but Washington has a flurry of positive Bitcoin news. Trump is expecting a massive bull run in this market, and him and his cabinet are nonstop talking the Fed to the point where Jerome Powell is receiving subpoenas. If you're expecting this to be a prediction video, it's not that, but it does point in this direction. To me, it feels like Trump is secretly trying to make Bitcoin a national security, and maybe 2026 is the year for that. I mean, many of the signs are in place.
Crypto, and to me it's an industry. I view it as an industry, and I'm president. And if we didn't have it, China would, or somebody else would, but most likely China would love to. And we've dominated that industry. It's a big industry, by the way. In fact, when the stock market went down recently, crypto and Bitcoin and all of that went down much less than anybody else as a group. And we've created a very powerful industry, and that's much more important than anything that we invest in. We invest in it, but really that was an industry that wasn't doing particularly well. I got involved with it a couple of years ago, and before the second term. I got involved before I decided to run. I only decided to run because I saw what was happening, and Biden was incompetent, and the administration was crooked and incompetent. And I was in Bitcoin then, not knowing if I was going to do it a third time. So it's become amazing. I mean, it's the jobs that it produces. And I notice more and more you pay in Bitcoin. I mean, people are saying it takes a lot of pressure off the dollar. And it's a great thing for our country. So I don't care about investing. You know, I have kids and they invest in different things. They do believe in it. But I'm president, and what I did do there is build an industry that's very important. And, you know, if we didn't have it, China would. Okay.
Right here, he's talking about how he wants America to dominate the crypto industry over the rest of the world. When the president wants to dominate the Bitcoin industry, what's a better way than making it a national currency? Just take a look at this little plan of his to eliminate the national debt.
They think it's good. Who knows? Maybe we'll pay off our $35 trillion, hand them a little crypto check, right? We'll hand them a little Bitcoin and wipe out our $35 trillion.
But how do you...
When the president wants to eliminate the national debt using a little Bitcoin, doesn't that make a case for his adopting Bitcoin as a national currency? And Trump recently said how we've just entered a new bull market. Take a look.
And the results are in, and the Trump economic boom is officially begun. It's really begun almost from the...
What's changing around the landscape of Bitcoin and finances in general is pretty remarkable. One of the big pushes coming out this week that blew up my feed was the Crypto Clarity Act. Here's Congressman Hill talking about it on Squawk Box. Take a look.
Yeah, we've got, it's a good week in crypto in the sense that Senator Tim Scott is having a markup this coming Thursday, tomorrow, on the crypto legislation that we sent to the Senate last July. This is the market structure. This is the rules of the road for dealers, individuals, on how they will use digital assets and what the fit-for-purpose regulatory structure would be. So I'm really looking forward to that debate in the Senate tomorrow, and I hope this means that we're moving closer towards having a law that President Trump can sign, which is one of his commitments, to have both a stablecoin bill signed into law and a market structure bill.
Now, the SEC chair, Paul Atkins, and the boys out in Washington are planning something big for Bitcoin soon that they've been laying the groundwork for.
Comes the next step, a good bipartisan effort by both houses of Congress to bring certainty to the market structure regarding cryptocurrencies. And this fits in with the president's focus on making America the crypto capital of the world. So if you have clear legislation and clear rules, then you have certainty in the marketplace. And so I think we're behind it. We are very bullish on the effects of a bill getting to the president to be signed this year, and I think that'll really be a huge help to the crypto marketplace and for investors in that.
All U.S. markets will be on-chain within 2 years. This is a big claim coming out of Washington that further pushes the national Bitcoin currency narrative. Just think, if we had something on-chain, this would certainly curtail the Fed's powers to make moves in obscurity behind closed doors. Because for most of modern history, there were questions you didn't ask if you wanted to be taken seriously. Questioning the Federal Reserve was one of them, and suggesting an alternative to the dollar was another. But when something stops being radioactive, it doesn't mean that it's about to happen. It means that the system can no longer fully suppress the conversation. And Trump is definitely making moves in that direction with his recent lawsuit against the Fed. Remember this?
So we're taking a look, and it looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out.
Our notes had it about 3.1 as well.
3.1.
3.2.
This came from us?
Yes.
Well, now, this week, Trump announced that he's considering legal action against Jerome Powell over incompetence.
We're thinking about bringing a suit against Powell for incompetence, because think of it, these aren't outstanding buildings. These are small buildings. He said $4 billion more. It's going to end up costing more than $4 billion. $4 billion. It's the highest price of construction. Again, Democrats, highest price of construction per square foot in the history of the world. Gorgeous monuments are built for a much smaller price. So we're thinking about bringing a gross incompetence, what's called gross incompetence lawsuit. It's gross incompetence against Powell. The guy's just incompetent. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. He's just a very incompetent man.
And Jerome Powell responded with, as Jack Mallers describes it, a hostage video.
Now that you've got that out of the way, the point is the President of the United States views himself as a historical figure. The President of the United States has shown that he is willing to go to extreme levels to prove that. The President of the United States believes he will be impeached if he loses midterms. Midterms are at the end of this year. We've talked on and on and on and on. Bitcoin is the best expression of currency debasement. It's the best expression of money printing. Bitcoin is very simply priced on future expectations of fiat supply. To say, why is the Bitcoin price up? Why is the Bitcoin price down? Bitcoin moves as they create more or delete more dollars, period. It's some combination of technology plus fiat liquidity. People will say, is it a tech stock? People will say, is it trading like gold as an alternative neutral system? And the answer is both. Okay. And so this is a huge year, and we need to set the tone by understanding we are in midterm year. The Democrats have an 80% chance to win according to open markets. Trump feels the pressure. The administration was not able to make a lot of progress in 2025, and it depends on which side you sit. If you're a Republican, you say, well, the Fed is acting as political Democrats. The tariff stuff is being fought over in court. Everyone's getting in his way. He's trying. He's making good progress. The market hasn't appreciated it. And against all the, headwinds in his face, he's doing his best. If you're a Democrat, you're saying this egomaniacal son of a gun overpromises, underdelivers. Remember when he said that Elon Musk was going to, run our budget like a startup and fix everything? What a moron. The point is, it doesn't matter. The Dems are going to win the midterms if nothing changes. He's going to get aggressive. What would that aggression look like? Well, what a Sunday it was where the sitting chair of the Federal Reserve posted a hostage video, effectively, to Twitter. I mean, you have got to be kidding me. This is the best timeline to ever be having a pulse. I mean, what are the odds that we are all alive right now?
Let's get something out of the way. I'm not talking about abolishing the Federal Reserve. That's for Rustin to do. I'm just saying even the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is bringing down the credibility of the Fed.
The Fed began what we call QE, or large-scale asset purchases. They went in the market, started buying long bonds, and the theory of the case there is you create liquidity, you take safe assets out of the market, long duration safe assets, and then the people who receive that money would buy more risky assets. Ben Bernanke famously said, when he was asked what's the purpose of QE, he told everyone, go buy equities. Well, not everyone could buy equities. So we ended up with like this two-tier economy where either you were an asset holder or you weren't. And the Fed definitely kept QE going for too long. And I called the Fed the engine of inequality. And someone said to me, well, do you believe that the Fed is responsible for economic equality in the system? And I said, absolutely not. That is not one of their mandates, but they shouldn't be exacerbating it.
It's not about replacing the dollar, and it's not about Bitcoin suddenly becoming legal tender in the United States. If that's what you're listening for, sadly, you'll probably be disappointed. What this is about is that Trump and his cabinet are making moves that suggest Bitcoin's adoption, and reducing the Fed's relevance is a key to bringing that about. Bitcoin does everything the Fed currently does, but it does it cheaper, faster, transparent, and more efficient. It's cleaner, for God's sakes. Institutions like the Fed don't collapse when they're attacked, they collapse when they're bypassed. The Federal Reserve doesn't need to be eliminated to lose control. It only needs the competition. And their only tool at this point is to print. And Bitcoin loves a good print. And as Samson Mow has articulated, fiat currencies like the dollar fail over a long period of time until they absolutely collapse in printing.
If you look at the failure of fiat currencies, they don't gradually fail. They fail spectacularly. And this is the premise behind the 1 million Bitcoin call, that it's not going to be a gradual, slow increase to $1 million a coin, but rather a very short and violent upheaval that sends us there in a matter of months, weeks to months. And if you look at the hyper-Bitcoinization landscape, what you do see is more and more countries coming out and mining Bitcoin. Bhutan, I think, is the clearest example of this. They have close to $1 trillion now in Bitcoin holdings from mining over the past 4 to 5 years. So if this is not an indication that hyper-Bitcoinization is coming, I'm not really sure what is. But countries that have excess energy, they can tap into that now and convert that into money and use that money for financing lots of different things. I believe we're also on the verge of countries issuing debt, sovereign debt, to buy Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin bond program, it is going to come simply because the MicroStrategy model has illustrated that this works, and it works very well. And it's just simply a matter of time before a country pulls that trigger and unleashes a torrent of sovereign debt to acquire Bitcoin.
Now, why is Bitcoin different? Well, Bitcoin doesn't behave like a protest. It behaves like infrastructure. Every time Bitcoin survives another cycle, another regulatory scare, another obituary, it becomes harder to dismiss and easier to tolerate. And tolerance is the real inflection point. Governments don't adopt things because they love them. They tolerate them because ignoring them becomes more costly than managing them. And the Fed is kind of like a giant roadblock in the Trump administration.
Mortgage drop below 6% for the first time in many years. It's coming down very rapidly, and that's not with the help of the Fed. If I had the help of the Fed, it would be easier. But that jerk will be gone soon. In addition,
when Trump is making moves to push the head of the Fed out, it means something else is happening, like he's trying to take control for some reason. It also means Bitcoin is moving from the category of problem to the category of variable. And that's a huge shift. Problems get attacked, variables get modeled. And once something becomes a variable, policymakers stop asking, how do we stop this? And they start asking, what happens if this grows? Well, Bitcoin has been growing. And that's not adoption, that's acknowledgement. And acknowledgement always comes before integration. I want to pause here really quick because systems don't fail politely. I want to pause here for a moment and talk about sat123.com, which provides satellite phones that work when cell towers, internet, and power grids do not. If you don't have signal, if you don't have infrastructure, it's no problem. These phones connect directly to satellites, meaning you still have communication even when everything else goes dark. Go to sat123.com and use the promo code SIMPLY for 15% off your entire purchase, because Bitcoin teaches you one thing early, and that's that redundancy is paramount, and sat123.com is redundancy for communication. Accidental lost seed phrases and clumsy backups are how people get wiped out. If you're serious about self-custody of your Bitcoin and want confidence instead of fear, check out thebitcoinway.com. They'll walk you step by step through secure key storage, hardware wallet setup, encrypted backups, and even running your own Bitcoin node. You get real guidance tailored to you, so you're not guessing at every critical decision. Plus, there's on-demand support for advanced topics like multisig and inheritance planning. Nobody touches your keys, and you retain control with someone who's been there coaching you every step of the way. So get started at thebitcoinway.com/beyondbitcoin for a 30-minute free consultation, because if you're going to take custody of your Bitcoin, you need to do it with confidence, not with fear. Back to our show. Here's the part that most people miss. Big pivots don't happen in the heat of political theater. They happen in the quiet resets afterward, after elections, after narratives harden. And that's when structural changes are framed not as a choice, but as a necessity. No one says, we wanted this. They say there was no alternative.
So you tweeted today, and it went viral, that the Trump family has made more than $1 billion in crypto. How did you guys make it?
Well, we started the three most successful crypto projects probably in history. We started with a meme coin, Trump coin, for a period of time. It was, I think, above the market cap of Ethereum. It was pretty amazing. Mm-hmm. It went parabolic. I'll never forget. We launched this on a Friday afternoon. I look at the price the next day. It was at like $70 or something like that for literally a meme. And just had a lot of fun. Obviously, we were really successful in the NFTs, in the early days. And then we started World Liberty Financial. Everybody knows we're the fastest growing stablecoin on Earth right now. And then personally, I'm doing a project called American Bitcoin. Every bit of my heart and soul is in it. We just listed on the NASDAQ. So we mine Bitcoin out of West Texas using some of the cheapest energy anywhere in the world. We mine a lot of Bitcoin. We're doing it at about 50%, of spot prices right now for BTC, and having a great job doing it. So we're going to accumulate. We're obviously mining. And so crypto has become a big part of the portfolio. I was always a hard asset guy. That's what I did. I think you probably know me from building.
Strip the personality away for a moment. This isn't about Donald Trump and his family liking Bitcoin. It's about Donald Trump being willing to apply pressure where previous administrations wouldn't. Trump doesn't treat institutions like the Fed as sacred. He treats them as tools, and tools are either useful or replaceable. If you weaken the perceived independence of the Federal Reserve, rhetorically, politically, and structurally, you don't need to introduce a replacement. The market will start looking for one on its own. So the question isn't, will Trump make Bitcoin a national security like El Salvador did? The real question is, what happens if the Federal Reserve's authority erodes faster than policymakers expected by the time they respond? It's functioning as collateral, it's functioning as settlement, and it's functioning as a hedge against political discretion. It's functioning as collateral, it's functioning as a settlement, and it's functioning as a hedge against political discretion. And once that happens, control fragments. Treasury power increases, market power increases, individual sovereignty increases, and central bank certainty decreases. That's not chaos, it's rebalancing. But rebalancing always feels like a loss to the institution at the center, i.e. the Fed. If this path is real of Bitcoin being adopted as a national currency, even partially, something breaks before anything changes. It won't be Bitcoin, and it won't be the dollar. It'll be the narratives. The idea that money is neutral, the idea that central banks are apolitical, the idea that there is no alternative. Those stories don't survive competition. Now, if you want to go beyond the headlines, price charts, and surface level Bitcoin takes like I make, then you need to check out ClubOrange, formerly the Orange Pill app. It's a Bitcoin-only social network built to help you find real Bitcoiners near you, discover events, and connect with merchants and communities that actually live this stuff. Go to ClubOrange today and download the app, and you can DM me at Oceans. I'm OSHINS at Oceans. I read all my messages there, and I look forward to hearing from you. In fact, shout out to my first connection, aside from you, Matteo, of course. Orange Diet, thank you so much for watching the videos and connecting with me on ClubOrange. All right, let's get back to our show. This episode isn't about predicting outcomes, it's about recognizing conditions. When questions that were once unaskable become reasonable to ask, the system is already shifting. And when that happens, the most important decisions won't be announced, but in some sly, roundabout way, they'll already be behind us.
See, the great trouble is the money wasn't allowed to develop further. After 200 or 300 years of coins, all governments put their hands and stopped any further developments. They were not allowed to experiment on it. Money hasn't been improved. Money has rather become worse in the course of time. Government said it must not develop any further. And what we have had since in development were matters of government inventions, mostly wrong, mostly abuses of money. And I have come to the position of asking, has monetary policy ever done any good? I don't think it has. I think it has done only harm. And that's why I am now pleading for what I've called denationalization of money. I don't believe that we shall ever have a good money again before we take the thing out of the hands of government. Because we can't take them violently out of the hands of government. All we can do is, by some sly roundabout way, introduce something they can't stop.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like what you see and you want to see more, make sure you hit that like button below, or you have to subscribe to the Simply Bitcoin channel for more content like this. We're coming out with it every single day of the week, folks. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell. I'm Oceans. This is Beyond Bitcoin. Until next time.